box came up about Windows updates, and I clicked the button. I shouldn't have clicked the button, and not only did it do a bunch of updates, like also like my Stream Deck and my Go XLR had some updates, and those updated as well. You probably can't hear any music though, can you? Not super important, because I can hear the music. That's what really matters, as long as I can hear it. But I want the vibe to be there. So let me fix that if you can't. Maybe. What about now? I think that fixes everything. Are we back to normal? I think we're back to normal. We're feeling good. You'll notice a couple changes. Right now, I do not have my framework laptop. I took it away because I was going to do something to it, and then I forgot to bring it back. So you can see the aspect ratio is different. You're back to a 16:9 rather than what is it, 4:3, I think. So a little bit different on that aspect. You're actually looking at my main stream computer desktop. So we're one PC streaming today. So if I got to do any restarts, if I got to download any big files, and it's gonna affect the stream, but it's all good. We're gonna make it work. Afro Senpai, good to see you. What's up? Absolutely, the intro's always gonna be fire. What's up, Julian? Good to see you. Joey's Bites, time to learn. I love it. What's up, chat, man? I wish this class wasn't the same time as 100 devs. I agree. Next time I might check in with Leon and see what time he's doing stuff and switch it up. Right now, I kind of just pick times that worked best with my life. But I agree. I agree that that's pretty annoying. But I'm, do what you got to do. Go where you want to go. You can always catch up with my stuff on the VODs, which is good. We finally got whitelisted for the music stuff, so I can actually click live on all of the pending videos. The biggest reason I don't click live on before they remove the copyright strikes is because you can actually put the video up still, but it will have some sections muted out. And then you got to go do weird stuff to go fix it if you do that beforehand. So I didn't want to deal with any of that, but we are whitelisted now, so we will be good to go. So now we can you'll get everything 24 hours after, which is helpful. So after tonight's upload, I'll hit the button on all of them and we'll be good. That's exciting. That makes my life a little bit easier. Let's see. Music, good volumes, excellent. Channel points. I need to figure out something cool to do with channel points. I don't do anything great, but yeah. Order DIY 12th gen framework laptop. Won't come until August. So I almost got in on the ones that were coming in July, but I didn't need it. I definitely didn't need it, but I'm pretty interested in 12th gen. 12th gen seems pretty dope. Yeah, I thought about just getting I might wait for the main board piece to come about, and I might upgrade the main board in the laptop, and then I might take that main board and build a full PC into a keyboard. They have some 3D printing kits available to allow you to do that. I think it'll be pretty cool to do. I want to get AWS resources. What's up, Buzz Colonel? Where do you think I should start learning any resource or course? Great question. We are doing some AWS stuff here on Tuesdays, but if you're willing to drop a little bit of money, if your goal is speed, you're trying to get through it, A Cloud Guru it's really that good. I'll always push them because I find the content to be super valuable. Funny enough, I'm recording a little video right now because I'm about to try to get I'm trying to get the 5 core AWS certifications in a 30-day time span. I have some incentives to do so for myself, but I'm gonna try to do it. I doubt my life's kind of busy, so I doubt I'll be able to get all 5. Confident I'll be able to get the 3 associate levels, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna study for 1 professional level cert, and if I cannot, and hopefully I'll be able to pass all the associates and then get at least 1 of them, but I'm gonna try to get all 5. But A Cloud Guru is really where I would start. It's really good. Or on Udemy, let's actually pull up Udemy. Udemy's great. This is gonna be weird. Like my chat is now over on this side. Usually I have the framework laptop below my monitor, so I just look up, without having to look right or left to see the chat and everything. But now you're looking at my screen on the left. I gotta look over here on the screen on the right. It's kind of weird. Udemy, not what did I type in? There's a guy on Udemy who teaches. So if you don't want to pay monthly, and everything right now is $14.99. Man, I cannot type. We got to do a typing test. This guy's good. I've heard good things about this guy. I've watched one of his courses and I found it to be pretty valuable. So if you're just looking for someone to learn, I like videos. AWS also has a number of resources through their website to kind of get started. Especially, do you know which certification you're starting with? If you're starting with the certified cloud practitioner, if you're starting with that, use AWS's resources for that. It'll make it easy. They give you some good stuff on there. Anything after that, I highly recommend using either this guy's courses on Udemy or getting an A Cloud Guru subscription. I think it's valuable. Is there any reason why Framework releases their laptops in batches? Most likely because they're probably they're a pretty small manufacturer, and then they've got to go through all these providers. Like, they probably don't have their own setup for a lot of these things, and it's probably a way to also like help with costs, like to batch the orders together. So kind of save it up a little bit, let people kind of fill in, and without, so that they don't have to order, and end up with a bunch of inventory on hand. They probably just order what they need. Udemy, where I have like a dozen unfinished courses. I have many more than a dozen unfinished courses. I have a lot of half-done courses, but they were very valuable. And I have plenty of courses I've never started. These Udemy sales are pretty good. If you're going for cloud practitioner, you do not need actual AWS experience. Correct. You can just get it with the study materials. Yeah, for sure. So cloud practitioner is mostly to say, hey, like I'm familiar with what the cloud is. I'm familiar with AWS, and I have some idea of what its core products are, and I have some understanding of some of the services, but it's not super in depth. If you do want to get cloud practitioner is really good for like sales people and people who are tangential to the engineers who are kind of helping out in different ways. I find it to be valuable. It allows you to have much more fluid conversations about these things, but not necessary. Good place to start. If you're just starting out, it's fine to start there. I would, if the cost concerns you, skip that one, to be honest, if cost concerns you, and go for one of the associate level ones if you plan on going after it. All right, so today I know I say it every time, but we will fill up the time probably with conversation and other stuff. So today we'll be able to answer a lot more questions, but today we're doing a couple of simple things. We're going to be learning about processes in Linux. So we're going to learn how to, see what's going on. How the heck do we find out what's running on the computer, what's causing problems, all kinds of stuff like that. So that'll be good. And we'll talk about the system startup, what happens on system startup, some things you can do to control things that happen during that process. And we'll talk about Cron today as well. I needed to give you all one of the links didn't post. Hold on. It always takes Google Classroom is weird. One, I finally figured out the session thing. It is session based, and like if I switch my classroom in between, it'll be problematic. What is this? Oh, Cron.Guru. Let me post this. Cron.Guru. But also, like if you set everything to post at the same time, it takes a little bit of extra time to do it. Cron Guru. Let me give you all this. I thought about this at the last minute to provide this. I used to use this all the time. It's pretty good. It'll make more sense once we get there. Diving deeper, I'll post that. And there was one other. I'll find it when we need to start. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Managing. See if I can find it. Journal dev. This one's really good. So there's this article by a journal dev that has a lot of the information that we're going to go over tonight. That'll make it it's an easy reference. So I just want to make sure you have it. And if you got extra screens, pull it up while we're going over stuff. I might pull it up too as we're going through stuff to kind of help you reference some things. Process management guide. All right. I'll post. Put this over here. Close that. All right. So, like I said, I'm struggling with typing already. So we're going to head over to Monkey Type and we are going to try to, best our mid 70s that we've been doing. So we're going to keep it slow. We're not going to get too excited. We're just going to try to get ready to start the day, to learn. We're going to get real fluid out here. All right. Oh, and I don't feel great, but I don't feel the worst. So I might be able to break a few of my records today. Okay, first go. Pretty good. Let's get into the 70s with this one. All right, we're doing pretty good. Nah. We're doing pretty good with the accuracy, and while I said that, I'm messing up. All right, that was terrible. Let's start over. Okay. Feel the vibes. Ride the wave at another between increase at need. Same all tell the child. Should hear. Okay. I don't know what that was because I hit, I think, R while I was doing it. All right, I'm going to go for one fast one. Let's see if we, like I said, I want to break it to the 80s in front of you all because I'm in the 80s consistently on my own. I did get 89 the other day. So I almost broke 90. I got 89 the other day on a 30-second test, though. I'm really bad at these 15-second tests. Really bad at them, but I'm too lazy right now to do a 30-second test, to be honest with you. What's up, Dream Traveling? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see what we can do. Both look on. Nope. Nah, too much stress. I put too much stress and pressure on myself. I gave up. I'm not feeling it. My fingers aren't feeling, when you're in the zone, you're in the zone, okay? When you're in the zone, you're there. Oh, actually, that infrastructure command's probably out of date. Yeah, it's probably out of date. We did do a course here called Pipelines. We will be replacing that course, which was it was Pipelines with software delivery. Hold on. Software delivery and infrastructure. I don't remember what it's called, to be honest, but it was kind of the DevOps and SRE course. And so this is a much longer kind of DevOps format course. We're kind of doing individual conceptual things and having a good time with it. And once we kind of get through all of it, it'll kind of make up it'll touch all the things that you need to know as a DevOps engineer. All right, let's get through it so we can chill and get out of here and have a good evening because, it's Thirsty Thursday for some people. And, it's the day before Friday. We want to get out of here. So, process management in Linux. What did we say day one? Maybe it was day two. Probably day one, though. We said that everything in Linux is a file. If it's not a file, it is a process. So we've done a little bit of file management. We know how to create new files. We know how to create new folders. We know how to navigate the Linux directory structure. We know how to move, forwards and up the tree, down the tree. We know how to move things around. We know how to name things, rename things. Okay. We know how to do stuff with files. We know how to modify files, go in and edit them. We know how to edit text. But what about those processes, things that aren't just files? Let's learn how we do that. And so if you are on, I'm on my Windows machine right now. And, if I want to know what's going on my computer, I usually hop in Windows. What do you hop into? You hop into command. No. Activity monitor. I use Mac and Linux and PC. So I can never remember what it's called. Task manager. Task manager is what you hop into. All right, task manager is what you hop into. I think the AWS one is Cloud Classroom. Cool. So I'm in Windows, and if you want to know what's going on Windows, this is what you hop into. And I know it might be a little bit small because I am on a 4K monitor. I probably don't have my scaling very high, and I should actually change that since you all are looking at this monitor today. Again, if you're new, this is not. We normally are looking through a different computer, so things are a little bit different right now. Let me turn my scaling up just so you can see a little bit better. I can't go bigger than 200 just because I can't handle it. So that should help a little bit and help you see what's going on here. So over here on the left, this is all of the processes that are currently running on my computer. And I can see some other good information. I can see what's being taken up. I can see how much CPU these processors are using, how much memory. I can see the disk, how much disk throughput and capacity, it's taking up here, network as well. And GPU. And so right now, OBS is showing using a lot of my GPU because it's using it for encoding for the stream right now, which is cool. I can also do some cool things like organize these, and I can sort them accordingly based on the information that I want to see. Dope. I can also get some information about what's going on with my system. And so, it didn't like me click on this performance tab, but I hit escape on accident. What was I looking at? Task manager. But again, I can get information about what's using up the computing resources. Remember, computers have finite resources, so they have a maximum amount of things that a CPU can process per second, and it has a maximum amount of memory these things can hold, disk space, all that. And so here's where you can find out what's going on. Here I can get some information about all of the different pieces here. Afro Senpai, that's actually a great thought. Let me actually change that because that's a really good. Let me actually just kill. I'll kill the. There we go. I'll just kill wallpaper engine. Good thinking. We will make that easier. I don't want to bother anybody. Cool. So I can see all of my CPU cores and everything that's going on. There are a lot of CPU cores here. This isn't super helpful, to be honest, but I have a place to gather information, and this is likely how you would do it on a Mac as well, even though you could issue some commands from the command line to get this information as well. There's some easy ways to gather them on both Windows and Mac. There are on desktop Linux as well. There's an easy way to get a visualized dashboard of these things. But when you're working with server Linux, when we are managing Linux machines in the cloud, wherever, generally, we're not going to have a GUI. We're not going to have a graphical user interface. And so we'll need to know how to get this information on our own to be able to make decisions and determine how to do things. I should have done it from here. It would actually been perfect. I wanted to stop a process that was running, which was Wallpaper Engine, and I was going to come in here and I was going to remove it. Microsoft Teams. I can right click it and I can end the task, so I can control what's going on here. I can stop applications. I can stop processes. I can see what's going on. Also, as you can see, there are a lot of processes running on the machine. Obviously, these are all not things that I started. There are things that are needed to run on the machine, all that stuff. Same thing with Linux. So we're going to basically learn how to get this information from the command line today, right now. Absolutely, the flashing needs to be more rapid extreme than that. I didn't even notice. Oh yeah, I mean, definitely don't want to. I don't know who's going to be watching on YouTube and stuff. So I got some thinking about that stuff more anyway. So I appreciate it. Yes. So the Threadripper, it's great. It's great. I want to do more with it, but I'm lazy. There's so many. I had so many plans for this. And computing has just gotten so good. Like I said, I only built this computer because I had some money to spend for tax reasons at the end of 2020. 2019? What year is it now? 2020. End of 2020, I had some money to spend for tax purposes, and so I built a monster computer, which I probably only utilize 20% of it, 20 to 30% of it at the most. I'm not a good enough video editor to really put it through its paces, but it does get some go during streams, at the very least. You also saw my GPU doing this thing. Let's see, what's it at? What was it at again? That makes me feel better to know it was that high, actually. The GPU's at 36. Okay, that makes me feel better about what's going on. Mine Bitcoin in your spare time? I can. This office, I don't pay for power here. Might be a good idea. All right, so let's learn how to do this. I'm actually gonna get logged into my Linode server. I was gonna do it locally, but I'm gonna get logged into my Linode server because is WSL gonna show us some weird stuff? Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, I'm gonna get logged into my Linode server real quick so that we get a native Linux experience, even though WSL is basically a native Linux experience. I know we still have some spun up, so I'm gonna hop into Waddle May IP address. So SSH root at yes, and we're in there. Let's go. All right. Make this a little bit larger, maybe too large. And let's learn some of these commands. So the first one that we're gonna talk about is the PS command, okay? PS. So man PS, so that we know what this PS command stands for. We know what options we have. Report a snapshot of current processes. What's important to understand is that this is a snapshot of current processes. It does get updated every few seconds, but it's to know that every time you get it, it's a snapshot of current processes. It displays information about a selection of the active processes. If you want a repetitive update of the selection, and the displayed information, use top instead. Yes, use top instead. You can get this to update. There are some commands we can talk about to be able to string together that we can make this easier to do. But PS shows you a snapshot, point in time. That's what a snapshot is. To see every process on the system using standard syntax, PS-E-EF-E capital F, E-L-E. To see every process on the system using BSD syntax, AX, AXU. All of this, so they're giving you a bunch of examples to do different things. I'll show you all what I usually use. I usually use something like this with another modifier in there. Yeah, but this is a way to get a list of processes, but it's a snapshot, point in time. So it's possible for you to run this PS command and for process to spin up right after or to die right after, and now your information is out of date. But if you run PS, you get something that looks like this, and we've got some things here. Actually, hold on. I think the one good thing about this is I actually think my Wacom tablet is set up for this computer, and it might be helpful for this class. We'll see if that works in a second. But you got some stuff here. You've got the PID, you've got the TTY, you've got the time, you've got the CMD. Let's see if this works. Wacom tablet properties. Okay, so I have the Wacom tablet, and that works, but I don't think I have the thing that I need to annotate on screen. All right, that's fine. We won't worry about that. But yeah, the PID, this is called the process ID. So this is the unique identifier for the process that is running on the system. PID, process ID. It is a unique identifier. That's what you can use to, if you want to stop the process, if you want to run a command that's going to specify a process, you can use that process ID to do so. TTY is a teletype device. This is going to allow you to have input. Time it just lets you know what device it is using. Don't worry about this right now. Yeah. The time the process is running, and the CMD, which is the actual command issued for the process to run. Now, you might say, hey, you just said, on Windows, when we looked, there were tons of processes running, but I don't see a ton of processes running here. Remember, went to man, and it said, hey, if you want to see every process on the system using standard syntax, use this. So I'm going to go ahead and do a ps-e. And so this is not a command that I don't usually use standard syntax. So this is helpful. I should probably start using this more because standard syntax is, I think that I could parse this much better. And it's easier to see and to look through with your eyes. Not necessarily programmatically when you're trying to do some special things. But as you can see here, there are a ton of processes running. Not really 82,000 of them, but you can see starting with process ID 1, that's a command called systemd. It's a process called systemd that's running in. We got 2, 3. Number 10 is RCU task root, and these are all just processes that start up when the computer started to support what you are doing with your computer. So that's dope. And as you can see, once you get down here into these higher numbers, these are generally going to be the ones with the lower numbers are generally going to be the system processes that are running that, again, got kicked off during startup. And usually once the numbers are higher, it is likely things that you actually start up yourself. This is not a tried and true rule, but kind of, you can likely suspect once you get a big break in the numbers like this, these are likely the processes that you might have kicked off yourself. Okay, so got these things running here. PS is how you see that. PS dash. Let's do other ones they had here, and let's see how the command switches up on us and what other information it might give us. PS-EF. Look at that. So now we get a much wider output. We get more information as well. So we get the UID. So this is the user ID of the user that's actually running the command. So, any individual user can kick off a process. It's got the process ID here, the PPID, CS time, TTY. We've got some other stuff here. We're not going to talk about all this stuff right now, but this document here, if you go into your Google Classroom, and I'll share it here, has a breakdown of some of these things. We're only going to dive into the things that I think are valuable for you right now. But yeah, first, I just want you to see kind of what's available to you with this process command. And remember, it's a snapshot, okay? It's a snapshot. So again, these things are running right now, but they could stop, they could start. If I were to run this again, I could get a different list of things, okay? I get a different list of things. The times can be different, all that stuff. Yeah, things can change. So I am a PS A user, okay? So I use the standard BSD format. So this is the standard BSD format as opposed to this. And again, close to the same, but a little bit different. But the command that I usually run is AUWX. This is usually my go-to to find out what in the world is going on a system. I'll be honest with you, the reason I began using it was because I saw whoever taught me how to troubleshoot systems, someone I learned from, this is the command that they ran. And so muscle memory, habit, we're creatures of habit. I've used this ever since. And even though I've learned more and more about how to check for processes, understanding what's going on, this is usually my go-to, and I usually parse and figure things out from here. But, you can see here, you get a lot of different information here. About what's going on. I actually don't use PS that much, to be honest. Yeah, I don't. It's not something. Interestingly enough, I think it's very valuable. I used to use it all the time. You can do some of this. There's another command that it recommended that we're going to learn about this on this slide called top. That I usually do what I need to do from there most of the time. So I actually don't find myself using the process command as much nowadays, but it works. One of my always have aliases, PSGs, PS, EF, grep, -I. Yes, great for searching process for a specific item, 100%. So normally, if I am using PS, I'm gonna tie it in with another command like grep. So I'm gonna list out these things, and it's hard to figure out what the heck is going on here. Okay, it's very difficult to figure out what in the world is in this list, and if I want to know if a process is running, I don't want to just, it sucks to have to look through this. I'll pick something that is in here. I see Python 3 right here, so I can say, hey, I'm expecting a Python 3 process to be running. I want to make sure it's running. And so I'll do your exact command. So I like that, PS-EF, okay? And then we can pipe it. We haven't learned about pipes, but we will. Actually, we talked about it, but I don't think we spent much time with it. grep-I, case-insensitive search, and I'll look for Python, okay? And when I do that, instead of getting all of that output, it takes the output of this command and it kind of sticks it in over here, and this command basically runs against the output of this command. And so it shows me that I actually have it shows 3, but I have 2 Python processes that are running. This one right here is actually it's catching this process. So I ran this PS command, this grep command, and so this process, when I ran grep, actually gets picked up in the process list because it is currently running when it achieved this snapshot. But I can see I have this one right here. So there's a network dispatcher, run startup triggers, and a unattended upgrades shutdown process that are running. So I can look for words in the process list to kind of find what it is that I need. All right, so super helpful. And if you don't get anything back, like if I look for my name and nothing comes back except for this, that means there's nothing running with that string in it. And so again, it's a good way to quickly find if something is running or not, if you expect something to be running or not running. So PS is dope. Mess around with some of the flags. Sorry, PS AUWX. The -A, it basically is going to give me all of the processes on the system and give it to me in the BSD format. I forgot what U does, so I'll look it up in a second. W gives me wide output format, so basically it will show everything right to left. I think it adds a column or two, and it will wrap text, I believe, so that I can see the entire file path of the command that was running in case it's really long. And I don't remember what the X does. So let's actually look, because I feel like I do this every time. I have to go look them up to see. Oh, what just happened? Okay. To see what these mean. All right, lowercase a, select all. Okay, UX. Lift the BSD style, must have a TTY, that is a typing device basically. I must have a keyboard restriction, which is imposed upon a set of all processes with some BSD style. Okay, I don't actually know what this does. I could read it. I could probably stop using it. Processes owned by an alternate description is that this option causes PS to list all processes owned by you, or to list all processes when used together. Okay. All right, I guess. Great. So that's what the X does. Let's find out what the U does. User list. Select by effective user ID or name. This selects processes whose effective name or ID is in user list. Okay. File access permissions are used. User list. Okay. What other options do we? User-oriented format. Okay, that makes more sense. So, output modifiers. Now I'm just kind of looking because ASCII art processes hierarchy. That's with the lowercase f. Okay, cool. We have a lot of options here, but the PS command is what you're gonna do. Again, important thing to know here is it's a snapshot. Okay, it's just a snapshot. Cool. Next, top. So this is going to give us something different. This displays Linux processes, but much more similarly to the task manager that we saw in Windows or activity monitor in Mac. It's going to display the processes and what's running currently, and it will update. It's dynamic. It's real time. Okay, it'll give you a view of everything that is currently running, and there are some things that you can pass into this as well. But top alone, the top command by itself, the default top command works well. So you can start with that. I'm going to clear this and run top, and it gives you a bunch of information here, and you can see things are actually changing every 2 seconds or so, and you can see different things happening. So lots of information here. Check this out. The very first thing, this right here, look at this, 23 hours 38 minutes and 2 seconds, up 6 days. So this is the server time and the uptime. Okay, so it'll give you the server time as well as the uptime for the server. So if anyone ever asks you for the uptime of a system, you can type top and you can find that out, or you can type in the uptime command and get the same information. Basically get this first line of top, but it gives you all that right here. One user, this is how many users are logged into the machine. Okay, this will tell you. So sometimes you have a machine that a lot of people are using, maybe it's a jump box or something. One user is logged in. That's the root user that I'm in right now. Load average. Okay, load average. This is important, and this is super tricky for some people when you first start learning. And I don't think anyone's very clear about what the load on a system means. And actually, let me check something out. Let me open up a whiteboard. Let me see if I can use a whiteboard here for this. I might be able to use it. I can't really be sure. All right, I can. I don't really need it to annotate the screen because I can't annotate the screen, but you'll see load average. And you have 3 numbers, okay? The reason there are 3 numbers is these are for different intervals of time. And funny enough, I don't even know what these intervals are anymore because So maybe this one is 1 minute or 5 minutes. This is the lowest interval. The first one's the lowest interval. So I'll look it up in a second. It's 1 or 5 minutes. The next one is like 5 or 10. And the next one is 10 or 15. So if you know, let me know. I can't remember. But the reason why I don't even know the interval anymore, and I don't really care to know the interval anymore, is because what this is it's 3 different scales for system load. So a lot of people will describe load to you as like like the amount of percentage that the CPU is taking up. So like when I look up, how much CPU is being used, a lot of people, if I ask someone, hey, how much CPU is being used, they will usually look at load. But this is not a percentage. Okay, that 0.00 is not a percentage. It's actually a calculation that has to do with the amount of processes. So let's see, this is weird the way I'm writing right now. The amount of processes and the relationship, the amount of processes being waited on to run or kind of in queue, kind of along with the number of cores. Okay, so I think what's interesting, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. That sounds right. So we'll go 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. But what was super frustrating for me is that for literal years, the place that I worked, that started out my career at, that kind of taught me what I know about Linux, there, for the systems that we were using, for the types of things we were supporting, a load average of 1 basically meant that the system was 100% utilized, and that if it was at 1, things would be slow, and if it got higher than 1, then we were having a pretty significant problem, and that we needed to restart services or stop some services. I'm only bringing this up because I've come across many people over the years who have somehow learned the same thing that I had learned at that time, that a load of one is when you should be getting concerned. This is not true at all. Again, this is kind of a function between the number of cores. So the general rule, this isn't the general rule to go by. A good rule of thumb is if you know how many threads you have on your computer, how many cores and threads you have on your computer, the load isn't high until it reaches that number. So if I have 24 cores on my computer and 24 threads total, I don't have any hyper-threading, then once this load gets to 24, that is when I'm at max utilization. That is when all cores can have processors waiting for them and they will all be utilized. Okay, so the number can be tough, but the reason why we have 3 of them is because we can see trend data. Okay, so what I can do is if I can say, hey, this server has been running slow for a little while, I've been called upon to do some troubleshooting and figure out what's going on. As soon as I hit top, I can instantly see what's been happening, okay? Because imagine, I can instantly see where the server is trending. I can see if it's getting worse, if it's getting better, or if it's staying the same. So the reason I know that is because if I have the load from 15 minutes ago, all right, 15 minutes ago, the load, let's say on our system, a load of over 10 is bad. And let's say maybe 10 minutes ago, I had a load of 22. Okay, 22.5. 15 minutes ago, but 10 minutes ago, I had a load of, 19. And now when I currently log in, the 1 minute load average, again, these are averages, the 1 minute load average is like 11 and it's dropping. What that tells me is instantly that the issue, it looks like it is subsided. I need to keep an eye on it still, but it looks like the processes or the things that were causing the high load have either ended or are not causing as much pain because the system load is going down. And I know they're going down because of the trend data. 15 minutes ago, the average system load was much higher for much longer. Okay. And vice versa. If I log in and a few minutes ago it was down to 9, it was at 9, and we're starting to see some slowness, and 10 minutes ago it was 12, and right now it is 14, I know that things are trending upwards, and I know that we are still in a problem, and I need to go look through and figure out what's going on. Sometimes what sucks about this is super high load makes it difficult for you to run commands and find the information that you need, but that's what load is for. Load allows you to these 3 numbers, regardless of whether or not you know how many cores are on the system, it allows you to get a quick snapshot of where things are trending. Is the server becoming more utilized, or is utilization staying pretty standard, or is utilization dropping kind of over the last 15 minutes? And so load can be pretty helpful for that. Tasks, it tells you how many processes are running: 1 running, 92 sleeping, 0 stopped, 0 zombie. These are statuses of tasks. These are helpful. These give you good information. And here we can come over and find, this is where that article comes in handy, because it has some of this information there. Hold on, let me move this over. All right, yeah, so running, a process that's in a running state means it's running or it's ready to run. A process that's in a sleeping state is when when we're waiting for that resource to become available. Interruptible sleep or uninterruptible sleep, it determines how it's going to handle signals that are sent to it. A process that's stopped, a process enters a stop state when it gets a stop signal, and we'll talk about those signals in a second. And a zombie state, people always ask, what in the world is a zombie state? This is when it's dead. The process is not running, it's dead, but the entry for the process is still in the table. Zombie processes are super duper annoying, and they are a pain if you'd like to get them out of the table, or they can be a pain if you want to get them out of the table sometimes. And so, if you're ever concerned or you're ever trying to figure out what one of those statuses mean, save this link. This is a great article that talks about a lot of things that we're going to talk about tonight. So let's top. Well, actually, no, we're not even close to through top. CPUs. I'm gonna be honest with you right now. Don't worry about this line. There's a lot of information here that I don't. I generally don't think people use often. The information can be valuable, but because there's a lot of stuff on here to learn, like I said, I'm gonna focus on the things that I think are gonna be most beneficial to you right now. Then there's information about memory usage. So this is kind of a single pane of glass. So we got memory usage here. Swap usage. So still memory usage. We can see all that there. Then down here, we have a similar, but not the same output that we had when we ran the PS command. We have some information here. So the process ID, the user PR. This PR right here is for priority. So this is how you set the priority of the process for the kernel. So the lower the number, the more it's prioritized. Okay, so this -51 is prioritized higher than these zeros or these 20s. The 0 is prioritized higher than the 20s here. So that's the system priority. I can honestly tell you, in all of my years dealing with Linux, I may have messed with priority once or twice, to be honest with you, because normally you modify this next value instead. This is called the nice value. And I'm going to be honest, I don't really know. So I think I understand the difference between these two, but I don't really know the difference between these two. So the nice value also is used to express priority of an application. So if you want to make sure a process takes precedence over another one, let's say maybe you're setting up the things that start up when the system starts, and you want a process to take priority and receive CPU before the other one, or be able to see processing and be able to do different things before the other one. You change the nice level. Again, this goes from like negative, I think it goes from -20 to +19. This one, on the other hand, goes from like negative like 80 or something like that up to like 160. Well, I'll look it up in a second. But this is what you change. This is what I've always changed when you want to change the priority. So if you want something to have higher priority, you lower the nice value. Okay, so all these processes right here have a higher priority and so I think it's a user space thing in my user space than the priority over here. But also these have higher priority than these anyway, so I guess it kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah, so I've never, like I said, I may have done priority once or twice, but I've changed nice values pretty often. Actually, let's check the article and see if it says anything about them as well. Just wondering. Process ID, user, priority given to process while scheduling, nice value of a process. Okay, cool. Vert, amount of virtual memory used by a process. So that's what's right here. Let's put them side by side. Vert, so the amount of virtual memory that's used. Amount of physical memory over here. You probably won't use Vert or Res very much, or the amount of shared memory. You probably won't use any of those super often. I'm trying to pick out the things that, like, over the years that I know we hop into the most. PID for sure. Process ID is super important. User, super important as well. Nice value can help a lot, but probably is the least important of the things that you're going to be looking at often. You probably won't use this information too often. CPU you'll use. So this is, CPU percentage. This is what you're probably expecting when you see the load. This is kind of the percentage of CPU that's being used up. Same thing for memory here. And the time the process, the time has been active. I'm pretty sure it's time active. Sorry, yes. So it is time active, but total time consumed by the CPU. Yeah, so as the process is running, as it is accessing CPU time, this time will go up. And then command is the thing all the way to the right. That's how you know what the process is. It's not showing because the screen's too small, but this is what the actual command was that kicked these things off. This is, sometimes you'll see just one command, sometimes you'll see an entire file path to a command basically that kicked off. And so this is how you can this is how you actually find out what it is that's actually running. And so man is just a singular page like this, so I actually have to scroll down if I want to see more processes. So I'm actually using the arrow keys right now to scroll down. But what's nice about top is it has a bunch of other things you can do. Like I hit a character, I didn't mean to hit it actually, but when I hit something, when I hit K on the keyboard, it says, hey, the K is to kill a process. We're gonna talk about kill in a second, but this popped up and it says, hey, if you want to kill a process, just give me the number. Simply give me the PID. It will by default kill the PID that is using the most CPU. So be careful with this. Right now that PID is actually top, and I actually want to see what's going to happen if I kill the top PID. It killed top. It may look like I'm still on top, but I'm not in top anymore. It has killed the top command. And if I want to hop back into it, I just go right back into it. But it has a lot of tools. You can do some searching here. Yeah, it's helpful. You will use top while managing Linux systems. I also have htop on this list. Top will be available on every Linux system that you touch. Htop will not be, but htop is much more helpful. And so let me see. It's probably htop is likely not going to be available. If you have the ability to install it, I would install it. But check this out. It's a much easier to read interface. It's it's colorized. It's shown in a different way that's a little bit more helpful. You've actually got visual bars for CPU and memory usage, swap. You can see the task, the load averages, uptime. Very simple here. And then it's got guides to help you figure out how to get the information that you need. Search, tree, filter things, sort by, nice levels, nice down, nice up. So if you want to change the nice level, I can simply just hit a button and take the nicest down or raise the nicest up. I can kill all those things. So it is it's easy to use, and I can use my mouse inside of htop where I cannot use it inside of top. They give you the same information, but in a much different format. And again, like I said, htop is much easier to read. Like if I do htop right here on a system where I have lots of cores, it shows usage. It shows core usage for every single core or thread. And so you can see all of 48 threads right here, 24 cores, 48 threads. And I can actually see what's being used. My computer is very underutilized right now, which is pretty good, and my load average, everything that's right here. But if you want to see the processes in real time, top or htop is what you want to use. SIGTERM. I think SIGTERM stands for Signal Termination. Let's see. Yeah, request to the program to terminate. Yep. So I think that's what it stands for. That's what I always thought it stood for. But I just wanted to look it up because maybe it didn't stand for this. But there are more than one ways to kill a process. But SIGTERM is just, hey, I'm going to send you a signal to shut down, to stop running, to terminate yourself. And so yeah, the SIGTERM, SIGKILL versus SIGTERM, they're both ways to stop a process. So just, you don't even know the difference between them now, but you can stop commands gracefully. You can say, hey, I would like for you to shut down, but I'm going to let you finish out all the things that you're doing. I don't want you to stop right now. I want you to wrap up everything you're doing. And once you come to a good stopping point, I want you to die. That sounds bad, but that's basically what it is. Or you can say, hey, I want you done right now. Please shut down. Please, just shut yourself down right now. No waiting. let me send a real shutdown signal to you. And you can also kill a process, so it doesn't go through its shutdown process. A shutdown isn't issued. The process is essentially destroyed, and so they all have different implications to what goes on. But yeah, but a sig term is signal as a termination signal, and so you can find out. Let me send you this. This is probably helpful. This looks helpful as soon as we got here. Yeah, that might give you a little bit more information about termination signals. And then kill. So, good question about sig term, right on time, because we are now going to kill a process. And so in here, I'm actually going to start a process so that I can kill it. Let's do something. Apt install Nginx. I'm going to install Nginx, which is a web server. Running kernel seems updated, no service seems to be restarted. System, CTL. Sometimes when you install Nginx, it runs by default. Let's see. Yes, it's already running. So if I'm unsure, so that's one way I can check, but we'll learn about that in a second. If I want to see if this is running, I can do a PS, A UWX or PSHE, whatever, and I can grep for Nginx because that's what I care about right now, and I can actually see that there are 2 Nginx processes that are running, so Nginx is working. But I can send a kill command to shut it down. So if I want to stop Nginx, I can do kill, and then I can pass in the process ID. So that's where PS helps. That's why understanding what these things mean. I can pass in this process ID here, and so I can kill. Actually, let's look at the man page for kill. Send a signal to a process. The default signal for kill is term, so it's going to send a sig term by default. But then I can actually send one of these other ones if I want by passing in different values. And I will show you that right now. So first, I'm just going to use a kill command. Remember, it runs a sig term by default, which is 15. And I can kill the PID. So 83073. And now, if I look at my process list again, notice how these are not running anymore. You might say, hey, well, didn't you just kill this one? Why did this one stop too? That just has to do with this one being the master process. So if there's no master process, the worker process is going to die as well. So if I start it back up, let me start Nginx back up. Let's look at it again. What happens if I kill that worker process? 83276. And look at it again. It actually, you might say, "Oh my gosh, it didn't die. You issued a kill command and it's not working." That's not true. That's actually not true. Take a look. The process ID was 83276. Now the process ID is 83279, and we have this up here that kind of got spawned. Actually, because I just did NG and not Nginx. But we have this here with a new process ID, and that's just because when the worker dies, Nginx will spawn a new worker, and so just like that, it spawned a new worker very quickly. If I kill this one again, if I kill 9, when I look again, it will have Nginx 83288. It's a different process still. And so I can pass different term signals, kill all. Well, so this is what will happen if you enter something that doesn't exist. I've got to enter in this one, 288. and it'll kill all of the Nginx worker processes if there are more than one. This using like the -9 to kill all is tough to show you because I don't have something that has tons of processes. So just like Nginx spawn more than one process, applications and tools, when they run, sometimes spawn lots of different processes, and it can be tough. If let's say something is running and it's causing problems on your computer because of all these processes, it will be very annoying to have to go through and individually, one by one, kill each of the processes that's causing you issues. A -9 would take care of that for you. It would kill all of the processes that are in that group, which can be super helpful. Yeah. So that's the kill command. And again, if you look at it, look at those termination signals that I sent you. And you might want to spend some time understanding what some of these things do. Maybe just using kill by default until you have a good understanding of it. Yeah, you can also have there's like kill all commands and stuff. Pkill. I don't know. I know some people who use pkill instead of kill, but I don't know what the difference is because I never use pkill. Let's see. Or wait for processes based on name or other process attributes. So I guess this is you give it the service name rather than the PID. Is that the only difference? I think that's it. Let's see, man. Kill. I think kill takes the process ID, whereas pkill takes the process name. So you can give it, you can give it this command over here, and I guess it will kill it. Cool. All right, let's take 8 o'clock. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll hop into the Linux startup stuff. So if you have any questions about anything now, let's do this first. Let's stay on brand. I thought this was the only slide for this section. Let's do this really quick. So Top gave us pretty much all the information that we wanted to know, but not in the most parsable way. You can also check memory with the free command. Top and HTOP tell you as well, but you can check this with free, which is helpful. And so when you type in free, you get some output like this. You get the total amount of memory, total amount of swap, used, free, shared, buff, cache, available. This, I wish I had been able to read this earlier in my career. I always simply looked at total, used, and free, and it was problematic. Now, you might see these big numbers here, and you're like, whoa, like, there's a lot of memory on that thing. No, there's not. By default, it is in bytes, okay? Bytes are not helpful. It's not helpful for things to be in bytes. So if we want to make it into a different format, we can pass in flags to give us this information in different ways. What's up, Code with Sean? Good to see you. But free displays the amount of free and used memory in the system. But if I want to see it in a different way, I can use things like -M to get it in mebibytes, or -K to get it in kibibytes. -B in bytes, this is the default value. G, gigabytes. But there's a -H that they're not showing you that'll simply do its best to make it easily readable for you. So -H is usually what you're going to pass in to free. So if I do a free -H, I can very quickly get some information about how much is used here. So total, about a gig. So 971 megabytes. If you get a gig, you don't get a whole gig. So this is a server that has a gig of RAM. I'm using 133 of it. You might say, well, if I'm using 133, how do I only have 132 free? If I'm using 133, how do I only have 132 free? Because 971 minus 133 is much more than 132. And that has to do with the swap and the cache buffer, okay? So right now in the cache, there's 705 megabytes, okay? That's what it has in there. And so this is space that has stuff saved, but can be quickly or easily swapped out. So honestly, this is your closer to your, this is your available amount. Real, like there's different ways, there's different thoughts in schools on this, but basically take a look at your available over here. It'll help you. I used to look at the total and the used and give you, like, well, I would come in to see how much is free, and I would see this line right here, and that's what I used to go with. And I'm like, man, like that seems wrong. Like when I really started looking into it, I was like, whoa, like no, there's way more left. And so it has to do with what is cached. That helps determine what you have available. So just know when you go look at this, this is not the line you should be looking at. You should be looking at what's available, not necessarily what is free. Okay, because it will end up using a lot of that for cache, but it doesn't mean you're running out of RAM. Swap, if you're unfamiliar with what swap means, so what RAM is used for is RAM is what feeds the CPU. So information gets stuck onto the RAM sticks. RAM's very fast to feed the CPU, so it goes from the CPU from the RAM stick from RAM into the CPU and back. It's kind of that placeholder, as that's kind of the buffer in between the CPU and what happens on disk. But sometimes we have stuff loaded into memory that we don't need to access often or really don't need access to right now, and so you might, so that you don't have to worry about running out of RAM, running out of memory, because if you do run out of memory or you overload your memory, it makes it can make processing slower. We can move that from RAM, which is very, very fast, to disk space. Okay, so we can actually take that information and write it to persistent storage. It's not going to stay persistent, but we're gonna write it to persistent storage. We're gonna offload it from the RAM. Basically swap it out so that we can free up some space in our actual memory. And when we need to retrieve it, we will retrieve it from swap and put it back into our normal native RAM. But this can help. I generally, if the system's big enough, if I have enough RAM, I generally don't use any swap. Personally, I'm not a fan of swap. It can slow things down, but it can also save you in the event that you run out of RAM, but I'd rather just put so much RAM on my computer that I never hit the limits. So free, that's how you get this information here. And then storage, file systems. You got two different things here. There's DF and DU. I see people get these confused all the time, and I see a lot of people not really understand which one is which. So DF will give you file system information. Okay, this will give you specific information about how file systems are being used, how much space is being taken up, where it's mounted, what kind of file system it is, information like that. Whereas DU, on the other hand, will give you disk usage. So it'll give you disk usage of files. It'll show you. It won't show you how much disk is their total plus how much are being used. It shows you what the files and directories that are around you are actually taking up. I could have done this in a better way, but DU is how you get how much space is this folder using up. How big is it really? I need to know. DU is what gives you that information, whereas DF gives you information about file systems. So every system starts with slash. So if you're trying to find which file system is your main file system, it's going to be the one that's mounted as slash. And you can see here that we've used, it's 25 gigs in total, 5.8 gigs used, 18 gigs available. These other file systems are paradigms of Linux and have things set up for system things to happen on, but you can usually find the one that you want pretty easily by looking for the slash. So DF is for file system information. DU, on the other hand, let's move into my home folder. Oh, this is my home folder. Let's move into let's move into blue directory. Got something in here. So if I do DU in here, it's going to show me how big. It's going to basically say we, right here is 8 gigs. Sorry, not 8 gigs, kilobytes. Here, this location is taking up 8 kilobytes. So this usage, DU, that makes sense, man. DU, and estimate file space usage, and then man df is report file system disk space. WSL allocated 215 gigs when I installed it. So I actually don't know how. I'm not actually too keen on how WSL handles that, because I feel like it. So mounted on Slash. So yes, looks like it allocated 250 gigs, but I don't think. I'm not sure it actually carves out that amount. I think this is some fancy stuff going on, but maybe. It might. How much RAM do you think is needed to run a fast laptop? I mean, it depends on what you're doing, but I say don't. In this world, I wouldn't go less than 16. 16 gigs is pretty standard. I feel like 16 gigs is pretty safe as well. Yeah, 16 gigs is I think I think 16 gigs will work for 95% of the people out there. Yeah. Does WSL just report the disk size of the hard drive is installed on, not necessarily was using? No, that's what I thought might be happening, but that's not the case because this is installed on a 1 terabyte drive. So I don't think so. It's showing the other drives I have here as correct. Like these are correct. So maybe it does partition out. Maybe it does partition out that much. But I think it does it in a fancy way where it can give it back to Windows because I don't think this has gone from like, let me go into my file explorer. Like, what happens if I go to C or like this PC? Like it's still showing 931 gigs. Like it doesn't partition it off like if we actually made 2 separate partitions. So I don't know. I have no idea how it works. It definitely. So I don't think it's carving out anything, period, because the file systems are in it. Like I can get to, it's not a separate file system. Like I can get to, maybe it is a separate file system actually. I don't know. That's something we should dive into. I have no idea. That another reason why I spun up a Linode instance to avoid having to figure out what's going on with WSL, because as far as I'm concerned, WSL2 is magic. But I would like to dive into it more to know how it's integrated, because this is kind of cool. I actually didn't know it mounted your other drive. So like I just learned something just now, which is helpful because I have a lot of drives on this computer. That's good. That's good to know. I actually forgot I have all these drives. I really forgot I have all these drives. They're all SSDs too. Huh. Interesting. I gotta start using them more, but not playing games. Okay. I will not allocate one of those to games. So yeah, DU and DF. Cool. Take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and we'll talk about system startup and then cron. So Google timer. Man, my brain. Trying to think. Also, everything we're doing is not distro dependent. These are standard Linux commands across the board. Most of this stuff can be done on your Mac as well. Yeah, I think DU, DF. Mac has top. I don't know if it has H top. I don't know if you can get H top. But yeah, top should work the same, I think. Windows, obviously, not the same, but I've been surprised at the things that Windows has. So let me check some of these in Windows. Okay, I didn't think top would work, but it was worth a try. DF, nope. DU, nope. Free, nope. What else we got? So CMD is not great. PowerShell's pretty good. I mean, yes, it won't have HTOP. Most things won't have HTOP. Nor free. Okay, Mac. How do you check for Mac OS? Check free memory command line. What's up, Cadutus? Good to see you. Whoa. Well, yes, activity monitor. And then they give you a Python script. That seems like a lot. Yeah, VMstat. I always forget about VMstat. Always. Yes, brew install HTOP. And if you're on Linux, if you get on a machine and it doesn't have HTOP and like you've learned HTOP, it's super easy to get. It's literally just if you're on a Debian-based system, just apt install HTOP. If you're on Red Hat, it is yum install HTOP. And it should be found immediately. You don't have to add any extra things. Good to see you as well. For sure. The end of the week is nigh. I need the end of the week to be here. I just started it. I'm hoping to. I was gonna be quiet about it, but I'll talk about it a little bit. I'm starting a kind of 6 month of discipline, and so in all areas of my life, I'm trying to establish discipline, and so there's discipline, there's motivation, and motivation is good while you have it, and it's good to rely on motivation to do what you need to do. What do you do when motivation's gone? That's where discipline comes into play. How do you push through when there's friction? How do you do what you don't want to do? And discipline's how you do that. So I'm trying to work on my discipline for 6 months, like across the board. So that's part of the reason why I told you all I got rid of Windows on my home computer, because I'm trying to not play video games for this next 6 months. So I've gone Linux full time there. I put my Xbox in a box. I'll probably keep my Nintendo Switch out because like when I'm like watching the baby and stuff and she's running around, like it's an easy thing to kind of just pick up. But yeah, just stuff like that. So I'm tired right now because I had a pretty crazy gym workout this morning, and I woke up at like 5:30 and I had a pretty crazy gym workout, and man, I'm feeling it. I used to always wake up early, and so like I'm trying to get back into it, and I think after a week or two, like everything will be fine. But I'm just gonna it's what I'm going to try to do. So you might catch me being a little bit more tired for the next week or two, but I'll get over it, I promise, as I'm on this I'm on this little journey here. This was a short week, I know. Seriously. I'm so happy tomorrow's Friday. When do we start this? I mean, whenever you want. I started yesterday, really. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I've been doing things to prepare for it. Whoa, that was loud. That's very loud. I've been doing things to prepare for it, but I'm pretty seriously going to dive into it. I'm going to be kind with myself this week. I'm going to be much less kind with myself in following weeks. Like, just getting through things that I'm supposed to get through. Just really prioritizing growth, and it's not for any reason in particular. It's not because I want to do this or that. Like, it's not. I'm not one of the self-help people who are like, be your best self. No. I know that when I put the only thing out of all the things that I really care about is I do want to lose a significant amount of weight. Mostly for health reasons. Secondary, I just want to look amazing. I want to look amazing in a bathing suit. Okay, summer. I want the summer bod. Everyone's always wanted it. that's the thing that I'm going to focus on the most. Fitness. I know. I know the fitness world, so like the work isn't hard. I don't mind working out. I don't mind doing the things I need to do. I just gotta do it consistently. But the rest of the stuff, like things like I'm going to try to actively learn every day, like pick topics to actually learn every day. I'm going to do some very specific things to transform how I handle my finances, because I think there's always places to grow. But I'm just trying things out and seeing what happens over the next 6 months. And again, just enacting some discipline, because I find that I've gotten lazier these days. I've gotten lazier these days. I like having a good time, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. But I think I need to get some discipline back. And I just, I think it's interesting to see what might happen. I'm working on my summer bod. At this rate, it'll be summer of 2030. Yes, the harder I work on my summer bod, the farther from my goals I get, usually. So this will be good. League of Legends is killing me. I know. So I don't remove, if gaming is your thing, like I'm not saying don't remove the one thing that you really rely on. Just figure out ways to cut back on it a little bit. I have other hobbies, like really, like when I just need to unwind, like I love going for drives. So I just go for drives. And now that I have the baby, like now I think I'm going to try to like, hey, the baby probably would love to be outside in the pool, with a little blow up pool. Like I'm going to start doing fun outside things, fix up things in the house. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna see how great I can become in 6 months, or just, see how it feels. Maybe I'll get to the end and I'm like, that was dumb. I'm not doing that no more. But that's what I'm going for it. Just speaking, with exception of the package, it's similar command process. Reset button. CentOS uses Yum. I think Arch uses Pac-Man. Yep. I think most Arch distros use Pac-Man. Arch by default, I'm pretty sure uses Pac-Man. Or you can use Yowert if you want to add the like Arch users repository to get stuff as well. All right, let's keep going. There's not a lot left actually, which is super duper nice, because like I said, your boy got some work to do and a little bit tired. Won't lie, lost what we're learning right now. Completely okay. Seriously, completely okay. This is like Linux systems administration stuff. This is not stuff that you would likely touch on your day-to-day if you're just using Linux. This is for if you're managing systems. And so some of the things that we're learning now might be, hey, a system is moving very slowly. Please log in and figure out what's going on. And so what would you do? If a system's having problems, that means there's either something wrong with the application itself. So it's like, we can learn about the OSI model. We could talk about that, but like, I don't think we need to. We're just going to assume it's somewhere on the system. It can be one of a couple of things. It could be network, which we're going to learn about some networking next week. It can be the process itself can be running very slowly. And if it's running slowly, it might be because of resources. So the first things you kind of do when you're having a problem, if things are running slow or application's not working, is you log in, and I want to be able to check if there's high CPU usage. Are we using up too much CPU? And so I can use commands like top to find out if we're using a lot of CPU, and that might give me some indication of what the issue is. Or I can say, hey, maybe it's running slow because it's using up a lot of memory. And so CPU usage might be pretty low, but memory usage might be pegged at 100%. And so that, you can be able to see that pretty easily. Disk space. If a system runs out of disk space, if a Linux system has 100% disk utilization, it will cause the wildest problems. And it can be difficult to diagnose if you're not thinking to check disk space, because it doesn't show up in just one way. The reason is that everything in Linux is a file or a process, and as things get spun up, files get created, all kinds of stuff happens. And so when disk usage is at 100%, it usually pegs off of that 100% back down to 99, 199, really 100. It's usually 199.9. And so you can get some really weird things to happen if disk space is the problem. Yeah, so like all this is just, hey, how do I work with the things that are running on the system? If I should see one of those things, how do I manage the processes that are running? How do I kill stuff that shouldn't be running anymore that I need to stop or restart? We're going to learn about how to restart and run system stuff as well. But that is what this information so far has been for. What this information right here is, this is some ancillary information that's going to help you kind of understand what happens with Linux during the boot process. And there's oftentimes, if you're managing Linux systems, that you'll have to do things with startup applications, and I'll have to set things to run when the server starts, and I'll have to figure out what's going on. And so let's talk about what happens during the startup of a Linux system. What's involved here. So one, run levels. Linux runs on something called run levels. And this is a mode. It's a mode in which it can operate. So Linux has a few different modes that it can operate on. Run levels define what this mode is, okay? So Linux, it's got different levels that it can operate on. It's called a run level. These are the run levels, and they mean and do different things. Should you change the run level, it will have the intended action that you see over here. So run level 0, the 0 run level mode, okay? There's 7 run levels here. This is the halt mode. This shuts the system down. So if you want a Linux system to be in run level 0, that means it'll be off. So if you change a system to operate in run level 0, it will shut down. So that's one way you can shut down a Linux machine, is to change its run level to 0. Okay. Number 1, single user mode. This is run level 1 is kind of like God mode. Okay. Single user mode. This is going to give you access to the root user, and it's going to allow you to interface with the system through the command line only. Okay, so by default, it'll be through the command line only. And it won't configure any network interfaces. So the reason why you would use run level 1, this is usually done for like rescue or for maintenance. Like if something happens and you're trying to figure something out and you can't get stuff done, you can put the system in run level 1. And what it'll do is it'll reboot, and it'll reboot into a command line interface, and as long as you know the root user's information, it'll allow you to log in as the root user and do the things that you need to do. It will not configure network interfaces, so if there's any issues with things over the network, you won't be affected by them, and it kind of isolates the computer for you to be able to do the troubleshooting that you need. Okay, so this is like primo troubleshooting mode. And you only really want to use this when like things are in dire situations and you're trying to rescue the system. Number 2, multi-user mode. This is like single user mode, but it has multiple users. So there's other users that you can log in as. If you have other users on the system, you can log in with those other users in this mode. And so, yeah, so similar to number 1, but you can log in with other users besides the root user. Okay. Also does not configure any network interfaces. Again, if you've ever done this on your Windows machine, if you've ever rebooted your computer into safe mode, this is kind of what safe mode is. This is kind of the same thing. Rebooting it into safe mode, and Windows does have the option to reboot into safe mode with networking, and so you can do that as well. But this is kind of like booting into safe mode. But you will only. It's important to note that both 1 and 2, you will only get a command line interface. You only get access to the command line. Now, number 3, multi-user mode with networking. Start system normally. This is the run level that Linux servers run with. This is a normal boot. Multi-user mode that has networking, but again, without a graphical user interface. Okay, so you won't, it's command line only. Run level 3 will start the system up normally, but with command line access only. All right. Number 4 is undefined. Not used, user definable, so you can actually set up your own run level, and little space. Run level 4 is for that. 5. Number 5 is the X11 mode. Okay, X11 mode. This is, if you're new to Linux, X11 is a display server. So this is the same thing as run level 3. Remember, we said run level 3 was the one that server Linux uses. It's a normal system startup. This is the same as run level 3, but with a display manager. Okay, so your X server, X11. This is what desktop Linux runs as. Okay, so if you're using desktop Linux and you're going to get a graphical user interface so that you can click around and stuff, you can get beautiful, icons and all that. Your computer is running on run level 5. All right. So the only difference between run level 3 and run level 5 is the interface. So here you'll get a graphical user interface that you can interact with, and run level 3 is command line only. And the number 6 is the reboot mode. So if you want to reboot your computer, there are other ways to reboot it, but you can also reboot your computer by putting it into run level 6. This will reboot the system. So these are run levels. These are super helpful. The only thing that you really need to know is like run level 1 it's like having a good understanding of run level 1 is probably the only real important thing. Is, hey, like if we're struggling here, we're having issues, we kind of need to start things into safe mode. Run level 1 is generally what you are going to do. And so it's worth noting that run level 1 and run level 2, because this doesn't configure a network interface, you should only do this, and you can only do this when you have physical access to the system, because it does not configure any network interfaces. So you've got to be able to plug directly into that system, and that's why I said it's kind of safe mode. But without networking, that's what you got there. So these are run levels. If you're not becoming a Linux administrator or anything like that, no need to memorize these at all. Just something I want to tell you about. I come across people who've been using Linux for a very long time and have no idea about these run levels. And so again, if you're not gonna be a Linux admin or a systems administrator, don't sweat memorizing these run levels, but pretty helpful. Changing the run level. How do you change the run level? Yeah, never knew on Daily Linux. Exactly. Also, what's up, Cleaning ER? All right, so changing it. How do we change it? So getting the current run level, we can run level, the command run level, or who-r. So let's run that in our Ubuntu host. Run level. Run level is 3. Remember, we said that was multi-user mode with networking. This is the normal startup. This is server Linux. This is what it's running as. I'd be very interested to know what WSL's run level is. I'm assuming it's 3, but because this is desktop Windows, I wonder, and because WSL also does install like a visual terminal, like this, like it installs a terminal emulator. I wonder if it's actually 5, but let's see. Unknown. Okay, very interesting. It's as confused as I was thinking about what the run level might have been for that. So also you can do who-r and it'll show you the run level is 3. Let's try that. Nothing. Still unknown. No idea. So the who command, if you don't know, it'll give you who's logged in. So man who, it'll show who's logged in. You can also hit you also hit W is wall. Yeah, it's all logged in users. Whoops, wall is to send a message. Never mind. So yeah, who shows you who's logged in. My Ubuntu Linux is showing run level 5, but I don't have a GUI installed. Interesting. Oh wait, Joey Bites, are you looking at it in a? What do you mean? What are you? Is your Ubuntu Linux in VirtualBox? Interesting. WSL equals magic. You're right. Yeah, it's. I would really like to spend time learning how it's integrated because it seems crazy. Still doesn't go through in it. Okay, that makes sense. I hope you have a firewall. This is I do, but this is a I'm logged into a an Linode instance. So yeah, installed in VirtualBox and SSH in. Did you install desktop Linux in? Did you install desktop Linux in the in VirtualBox? Because if you install desktop Linux in VirtualBox, I think it will show that it's on that run level. Oh, come on, IP address. I was wondering why you're saying think about the firewall, but there you go. This will get destroyed anyway. I installed Ubuntu server. Interesting. That's very interesting. I don't know. I actually don't know. That's super odd. Yeah, I assume Ubuntu server would just give you 3 by default. It's really weird. You don't need to use the systemctl command to this. Actually, I do want to see. I really just want to see what WSL gives for this system. I'm assuming it gives the same thing because it makes sense. What is the command? I never get the run level. Get default graphical target. Interesting. Because I think this will not give me a graphical target. This will multi-user target. So multi-user mode target. So this is 5. I'm pretty sure this is what you get when you have 5. And maybe Joey's Bites. Maybe you could tell me if you use this systemctl command in yours, does it give graphical target? Because then it seems like WSL is given like a. It's. I'm not saying it is this, but it's issuing some information as if it is run level 5. Yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. Cool. So that's how you can get the run level. Again, probably not super useful for most people. And you'll probably, like, I've never needed to get what the run level is that I'm currently using, to be honest. But yeah, changing it, you can change the run level. I'm not going to do this right now. Actually, you know what? I am going to do it. Init run level with a number. So if I want to shut this down, I can do init run level 0. Too many arguments. 0. Expected single character argument. Let's see. So this V run level link farm. Run level dot target unit. Run levels. Let me try 0 dot target. That might do it. Expect a single character argument. Okay. Let me figure out how to use init. Also, this is not how I ever change it. Let me do systemctl. That was dumb. It wasn't dumb, but let me see if this works really quick before I do it. Init 6. Okay. Init actual run level number. That was dumb. I should have read my stuff better. Run level. That's why I put run level number here. The number of the run level. But again, like I showed you, it's nothing that I don't actually ever do this. Init 0. Okay, now you can see. Remember, 0 was halt or shut down. Remember, I said if you change the run level, it would in fact, it'll put you in that run level. And so it shuts my host down. I can go over to Linode and we can see once I refresh that it is probably shutting down. And is there a refresh on this page? Waddle May running. Come on. Running. Cool. I'm unable to SSH into it, which is nice. I'm just waiting for this to say shut down. It might not catch, because of the way their APIs work. I wonder if it might not catch a shutdown done this way quickly. because because of the way commands are issued and the way that information is passed back. But I'm sure they have something built in to where it'll eventually catch that this is offline. There we go. And I bet you that if we shut this down, I bet offline is a different thing. So let me actually take this one right here and let me power it off. I'm interested to see what this is. I bet the offline is, hey, as far as I'm concerned, this is supposed to be up, but it's not. But it looks like they might have started it back up though, because it's now running when it wasn't running before. Okay, never mind. It's just the status. Nice. So either way, what I can do to start it back up is probably just, this is actually something I didn't think about. Maybe I just reboot it. I wonder if I broke it. And so there's a default run level that gets set. So even if I change the run level, it is not a permanent change. That's worth noting. Me doing this and changing the current run level, it's not me changing it permanently. So like, it's not stuck at a run level 0 now. It is, it's still got its normal default run level that we checked before. And hopefully this allows us to restart properly. Okay, that looks good. Let me give it a second to let the SSH daemon get up and running. Let me make sure my IP address didn't change. Okay. 288. All right, good stuff. All right, Joey's Bites. Have a good night. We're not far behind you. Come on, I went back in. Oh, okay. Offline is the message that it sends. It says it's running. Oh, it's still booting. It's still booting. So in Linode, you can kind of launch this console so that you can see what's going on. And so it's still the startup process. It's getting set up. All those processes that we saw running, it's getting those things configured. It's getting those things up because it needs those things to run. And so all that stuff is kind of happening right now. It's attaching disks, making sure your file system's good to go. It's making stuff happen. This is a long boot process, a very long boot process. All right, so now I can log in. It's ready to accept logins. And just like that, I'm back in. So if I hit issued, one more time, I'm gonna go ahead and init a 6 because I wanna see if it's gonna go down and come back up. And so we can kind of watch the logs here. I'll never forget the first time I found out about run levels was because one of the, we were a tiered help desk, and one of the level 2, I was level 1, and one of the level 2 admins was helping me troubleshoot a ticket, and I was sitting like right next to him, and he changed the run level to 6, and to restart it, I was like, what witchcraft did you just do? What did you just do? Why? How did that happen? And he did not explain it to me well at all. I don't actually think he knew what it was that he was doing, to be honest. What I think is he saw someone else do it, and I think that's how he knew to restart the server. Like, I think he didn't know any other way to reboot the server. So I think that was pretty interesting. So yeah, lots of ways to skin a cat, I guess. Aren't we supposed to stop saying that? Aren't we supposed to say lots of ways to feed? No, wait. Nope. I don't know what the other more pleasant saying is. But yeah, so reboot, that was much faster. So it's back up now. But just to add to your Linux administration repertoire, to restart a system, Well, yes, reboot a server does work. Man, reboot, halt power off, so you can stop a machine with halt, or power off, or the reboot command to reboot. If you don't do a no wall, nice. So when some of these are funny. No wall. So there's a command called wall, and you can basically send a message to everybody logged into the system, which is cool. I was seeing if I could find the information about the now. But if you want to restart, if you ever want to restart a system, you can just do reboot now. That tells us to do it right now. If you just do reboot without doing now, I think it'll wait for any active users to end their tasks or to log out. But reboot now is how you reboot it. So there we go. To bake a cake, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm trying to get the, there was, what was it? It was kill two birds with one stone, which now is, I guess, someone said feed, was it feed two birds with one hand or something like that was one. I was like, that one's not working for me at all. But yeah, I like that one. There's more than one way to bake a cake. I like it. I understand if you're traumatized by skinning cats. I was like, that's interesting. That is a little bit, why we skinning cats out here? Bake a cake. I like cakes. Cakes are probably one of my favorite things in the world, to be honest with you. I'm glad I don't know how to bake, because it will be a problem. I know it's a popular adage, but how would you go about killing two birds with one stone? I mean, I guess you kill the first bird and you pick up the stone and kill the second one. Kill two birds with, I don't know. I have really sharp stone with good aim. Also, I wonder, was that saying talking about throwing the stone? I'm assuming I always assume the person had a slingshot. That's just, yeah, there we go. Perfect. IQ, a slingshot. That was always my assumption. Always my assumption that the person had a slingshot, because I can't imagine someone just using a stone. But yeah. Are you using Rel, your personal servers? No, I'm using Linode for these. We do have a Rel system, but the one that we're logged into right now is Ubuntu. All of this stuff, the only stuff that mattered which one you were on was the package management stuff. All the rest you can be on Rel, or you can, Rel, CentOS, Rocky, whatever you want to be on. All of this stuff will work on any Linux distribution that you are on. But I'm using a Ubuntu server from Linode right now. And so that rebooted again. One reason, someone asked me hey, if you are so good with AWS, why don't you use EC2 instances? Two reasons. One, I don't like AWS's VPS option. If I just want a server, EC2 is great, but EC2 has a lot of extra features that I don't want to have to pay for. They have a super cheap one, but you can get more server space from a more traditional VPS provider, even though Linode is a real cloud provider. And they're offering, so AWS does have an offering called Light Sail. A lot of people don't know about it, but you run into a lot of the same annoyances that you got to deal with AWS. And so it's just easier to use something like DigitalOcean or Linode. So that's my preference. For little stuff, I generally stick with Linode or DigitalOcean, and if I want to do bigger projects, then I'll go with AWS. Personally, that's usually how I do it. If you're a sysadmin who needs AWS, cheapest, better. If you're a sysadmin, who are you saying? Are you asking who? You're saying you're a sysadmin that needs AWS, or are you saying that if you're a sysadmin, who needs AWS? Because I can just take the cheapest one, because that's true. Take the cheapest one. I agree with that. If you don't need it, who needs it? If you know what you're doing, second one, the AWS is confusing, and it can get super duper expensive. Like Linode's dope. It's just so simple. DigitalOcean, dope, super simple, and you can do a lot of like more advanced stuff nowadays if you want. Want a quick Linux server for local development, fun. Docker is great. Yeah, Docker's amazing. Docker, like I said, is one of my favorite courses to teach. Like, it's one of my favorite tools in the world. I really like Docker a lot. VirtualBox Vagrant are also dope. I need to do more. I'm probably going to remove Docker from this computer and start doing more VMs from this computer, because this computer has a lot of cores and a lot of RAM and all other stuff, but it doesn't run well. I have a lot of issues with VirtualBox because of Hyper-V, I believe. Maybe Hyper-V is not installed, but I think because of, maybe it's not because of Docker. It might be because of WSL. But for one of these reasons, I have trouble with VirtualBox on this machine, but I would like to use this as a VM machine for sure. Apparently, the uptick in housing prices, rent in the U.S. might end up being $2,000 per month on average. Adulting scares me. 1,000%. It's why you're good. That's why taking the steps to learn some of the stuff now is super helpful, because 100% rent is skyrocketing. Housing prices are skyrocketing. I do think that the housing market is going to cool off significantly. I don't think it'll crash. People think it's going to crash. I don't think it's going to crash. But I do think prices are going to go down significantly. But stuff's already so expensive that it's not going to make houses affordable for folks. But rent, yeah, I think average rent is for sure going to be $2,000 per month. I know, I know someone who just went from whose rent just went from like $2,200 to $3,100, and I was like, that seems like it should be illegal. A $900 raise in rent, but it is what it is. Docker Desktop makes it easier for the uninitiated somewhat, but worth the time investment. Yeah, I mean, Docker Desktop is great. I like it a lot. I like it a whole lot. And I don't think, maybe you can on WSL2. I don't know, but I didn't think you can install native Linux, the native Linux Docker runtime by default. So who's affording? I mean, so tech will allow you to afford that. The stuff that you're learning right now will allow you to afford that. Not that you want to afford that, but depending on where you are in the country, this person is right outside of DC, but depending on where you are in the country, 3,100 is par for the course for a decent spot. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. In the process of migrating all of my sites I host over to Lightsail and Aurora serverless in the VPC via SpinUp WP. Oh, dope. Loving it so far. Yeah, it's awesome. The free tier is nice. The free tier is definitely nice. It'll definitely, as long as you stay within the bounds, it'll be free. Unlimited quantitative easing. I just learned about quantitative easing today. Actually, it's a brilliant fiscal policy. Inflation for the win. Yeah. They will start charging on Windows. What will start charging on Windows? Docker? Ooh, yeah. Cali prices. I'm interested to know what's happening in Cali. Like, if prices are going up this high around here, I wonder. Yes, supply and demand is pretty crazy. $3,200 for a 1-bedroom in Silicon Valley. Yeah, this person has a whole house. They have a family. So yeah, yes, it's getting crazy out here. It's getting crazy out here. I'm glad. So I am glad we were able to purchase our home, and get in at a comfortable price. But it is going to suck because I know the markets are going to get a little bit weird, and I know we're going to lose some value. We had a wild situation happen, and we actually have a fair amount of equity in the house, which is nice. But I bet we'll lose most of that in the coming whatever's to come. I think there's going to be a little bit of financial ruin for a little bit. So brace yourselves. Seriously, brace yourselves. Again, I'm not a financial anything, I just watched some YouTube videos. So I'm just, I'm just going off of what I'm seeing, what I'm learning. Just work, guys. Just work. Just do your best. Just do your best. But seriously though, like take some precautions. Like I think for me, like what's the last recession we had? It was 08, or did we have one after that? Last US recession. Let me see. Yeah, 2007, 2009, I had just graduated high school. So I don't actually know. Yes, legal disclaimers are important. I don't actually know. I've never felt a recession. Like I don't know what it means to be an adult during a recession. So I'm just trying to learn stuff because I don't like are things just going to get expensive? I don't really know. I don't know. I know what a recession is. I don't know how it's going to affect people or me, but everything I'm seeing sounds like we're due for a recession. It's cyclical. It's not out of the ordinary, but take whatever precautions to defend you and your family that you can. Because I'm also the same person who wouldn't know that this was happening. So yeah, I know I saw people really upset about 09, 08, 09. So yes, floor closure was a hot word. It was. I'm 32. I'm 32 years old. Yeah, exactly. Like and I specifically remember my parents, like, my mom worked for the government. My dad was a teacher, and all I remember was everyone talking about 401ks. That was the conversation. My 401k. That's what I remember my parents talking about. That's what I remember people around me talking about. Like, oh my gosh, my 401k. Hey, you learn this stuff, easy 6 figures. Seriously, you keep grinding on this stuff. Easy. Recession into depression. Let's go. Yeah, minus tanking. It is what it is. Sad things that never had to happen. Yeah. I mean, when I actually learned about like the main drivers of the last recession, like learning about how like people will, no matter what I've learned is people, no matter what rules you put in place, no matter what regulations are in place, people are going to do whatever they can to exploit whatever. They're gonna find a way to exploit things for their own gain, and it's it's super interesting. Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't trust a lot of the stuff. I'm just out here living. I'm out here having a good time. If I become wealthy, it'll be on, probably not the stock market, because I'm a little bit afraid. I have learned. At first I was afraid because of lack of knowledge. Now I have some knowledge, and it's mostly because I would rather just spend my money on cars and car parts. But yes, I have money in the markets. I have diversification, all that other stuff. I'm trying to get on the same money game as the world seems to be on. Like everybody's into the markets. Everyone's deep. I'm not surface level. I'm deeper than surface level, but I'm not deep like a lot of people that I know. It still scares me. The more I find out, the less people are like, yeah, you should. That means you should want to do it more. I don't know. Yes, engineer collapse. Those are the type of things that I'm afraid of. Even with just the crypto crash, finding out about how the Luna crashed. Like, again, I actually don't think the person was maliciously trying to crash the whole thing, but someone figured out a way where they could make a lot of money on themselves, and it's speculated the person ran off with, or the people ran off with like some ridiculous amount, like $900 million or something like that. I don't think it's that much, but yeah, it's crazy stories when you hear about these things. Like, man, people are smart. We never held those accountable. Yeah, who are responsible either. They got away with it. Nah, that's true. That is that's 100% true. I agree. The Big Short, yeah, went to this. I don't get it. It was crazy. The movie was wild, and if the movie was wild, there's a lot they didn't tell us that happened that was even more wild. I know a ton of this stuff. I've been running my own business since just prior to the pandemic. Yes. Yep. I completely understand. I've stayed a little poverty line, a little while those. Yeah. I completely understand. Took advantage. Yeah. Hubris is always going to be the problem. Yeah. So, hey, wild tangent, but just, hey, protect yourselves. Figure out how to protect yourselves. I don't have an answer on how, but if you're in the U.S., I think we can. Inflation's already crazy. I understand the drivers of that. People, it's interesting. You hop online, people talk about all kinds of wild stuff. Everyone's got an answer, but it's it appears to be mostly wrong. No one really knows what's happening. I think that's going to hurt us the most, is that people don't know what's actually happening. Yeah, but protect you and your family. And if you know how I can protect myself, let me know, because I don't know what I should be looking out for. I don't know what's gonna happen. Whopper meals 11. So I don't eat Burger King, and it's not because I'm against fast food. I told people that before, and I was like, someone's like, "Oh, you're too good for fast food." Nope. No, I'm not. Look, that's why I'm trying to get in the gym right now. I'm not too good for fast food at all. What I do not eat at Burger King specifically, because when they had those 2 for $5 sandwiches, and they might still have them, the chicken sandwich, the long chicken sandwich, I went twice in a row. And when I tell you, that was the nastiest, it was so nasty. It was the nastiest sandwich ever. And ever since then, this had to have been like 2010. It was so nasty that I never go back. Like, I'll eat there if like everybody else is going there and we're like a road trip and there's nowhere else to eat. But man, I don't like it. But wow, Whopper meal being $11, that's a problem. Vote Trump, best way to protect yourself. I don't trust anybody. I don't think at this point, I don't expect anyone from the government. I'm to save us on any grand scale, especially that high up. You all vote for whoever you want to vote for, because it matches your priorities, it matches your life. Do what you got to do. I'm not expecting any of these politicians to turn things around for me. Side note: did anyone go to Everest or any of those colleges that they just what did they do? They forgave all the loans for? If they did, congratulations. If you did, congratulations to you. Seriously, like, definitely congratulations to you. Terrorist organization structure was for the ages 2, big freaking red flags. Yeah. Long chicken sandwich, it sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. I agree. You're right, but I grew up on McDonald's, okay? So I wasn't afraid to eat it, and it is what it is. Let's see. Who is chicken at BK? Not me anymore. Not me anymore at all. Never stop pursuit of education. Did anyone see Wendy's Biggie Bag R&B song commercial? I have not, but now I'm going to pull this up over on this side of the screen so that I can watch it later. Wendy's Biggie Bag. I don't watch a lot of TV. Is this old? If it's old, I might have seen it. But if it's new, I don't see the commercials because I don't watch TV. I really don't watch TV at all. I watch sports games. Other than that, and I don't even watch a lot of sports anymore just because I'm usually doing something else. All right, so back to let's exit from the rant a little bit. Let's finish this up so we can talk about the rant later. We're really pretty much at the end here, but we can talk about some of these things afterwards. Yes, run level. If you want to change the run level permanently, you can use the set default. So you can set your default run level to graphical target or multi-user target, whatever your target you want it to be. Do that. I do think systems are smart enough to not let you set it to permanent, like permanent halt or permanent restart. So I don't think it'll let you set it to 0 or 6 by default, but it might. I'm not sure what it'll do, and maybe, you know what, we got to test it. I can kill this system. Let's do it. CTL set default, and I'm gonna set it to 6. Sorry. Reboot dot target. Okay. It let me do it. So I'm gonna do an init 6. Let's see what happens. I thought they put stuff in place to like not to get you in an infinite reboot loop. But I'm just gonna watch. Your Linode isn't running or another console session is already active, which I think is true. Let me close this. Huh. I don't think it likes what I did. Or maybe I might have already broken it. Well, I'll keep checking in on this. I'll see what it does. But don't do what I just did. Don't set your default run level to 6. Don't even try to set your default run level to 6 or 0. I have a feeling that 0 wouldn't do anything. I don't think. No, I lied. Don't do that. 1 through 5. Remember, 4 doesn't do anything. So it's user definable, but it doesn't do anything. So there you go. If you want to know what starts at boot, if you want to know what things are running when the system is booted or things that are running, you can use this list units command. And so let's say you can see what's running and what's loaded. You can use the systemctl enable command to, if you want to start something at boot, let's say I want to run a web server and I install Nginx. Well, now that I have it installed, if this system should get rebooted, I don't want to have to log in and start the service back up. I want it to work automatically. So I can do a systemctl enable Nginx.service, and it will start Nginx for me whenever the system is booted back up. I can also delete stuff from starting at boot using the disable command. And then I can manually deal with processes with the start, stop, status, and reload commands. So let's go through all of these things really quickly. First one. Let's see what's happening here, because this is what I was using. I'm just gonna power this off. And then I'm gonna log in. Linode busy. Okay, I broke that thing. It might be in a permanent boot loop right now, to be honest. But I'm gonna log into this one instead. This is the Red Hat one, or the CentOS one. And systemctl, what were we doing? We were doing, we're listing what's running, list units. Yeah. So let's look at this list units command so you can see what's happening here. All right. Oh, and actually this actually looks a lot different than, it's okay. Never mind. It's not different. It's just too large. These are all the services that are loaded and active. Okay. So this will give you some information. If you go to restart the system and you want to see if things have been loaded in, and if you want to see if things have been brought up without searching for things individually, you can do this list of units and you can see all of the things that have been actively loaded. You can see status on them, and you can see what their description is, which is super helpful. I don't use this a lot. but it's a way that you can do that. Enabling a service. So let me install Nginx here. Let me install a web server on here. Yum, install Nginx. I know they'll just tell me how to enable it. There we go. So I'm gonna get Nginx installed using the Yum package manager. We learned about package management. Now that it's installed, I don't think it's running, but I can check. So how do we check? Again, this is a different distribution, but I can still do the same things. I can do AUWX and I can grep for Nginx and say, okay, I don't see Nginx running, so I'm gonna start it. There are a number of ways to manage processes on a system, and you're gonna find guides, you're gonna find things that were different because Linux has shifted over the years. Okay, and actually I think this might be old. It's not. So the main way that I'm gonna tell you to use right now, go ahead and use systemd, and we're gonna use the system control command. Come on, system. All right, so this is going to control the systemd system manager. So systemd is a system tool that's going to allow us to manage these processes. And so if I want to start a process, I have to know what it's called, or I have to know a path to it. So if I want to do system control, after system control, I'm going to give the command that I want to run. So there's start, there's stop, there's status, there's reload. I think there's a couple more, but those are the main ones that we're going to use. And so I'm going to start the Nginx process because I just installed it. Doesn't give me much output here or any output at all. But if I run this command again, I can now see that Nginx is running. And if I get my IP address, I should be able to get to this from my IP address. Yeah, 178. It's not giving me a page. I can check why in a second. 172, 104. 172 seems like an internal. That's my IP address. Is there a network? IP transfer, IP sharing, configurations. Okay. Oh yeah. You know, ifconfig, it doesn't actually exist on some newer things. Like, so I learned this. We learned this last time we did some Linux stuff. ifconfig is like not a thing anymore. And ipadder is what you use. But yeah, Nginx which port it should be. So the port should definitely be. It'll be 80, and I can listen. I think netstat's not a thing anymore, is it? Toolpin. Nginx is listening on 80, but it's probably either SE Linux or IP tables. So this is the problem when you're using CentOS or Red Hat. Super annoying, super duper annoying. Let me do. You know what? Whoops. Service. On the basic, what did I do? Oh, top. So it's not loaded. It's probably IP tables though. And get enforce. This shouldn't stop there. Where did my bar go? is always annoying about Nginx, CentOS. Let's see. Oh, yeah, firewalls. Oh, this is CentOS 7 though. What are we on? CentOS. I have no idea what we're on. Are we on CentOS 8? CentOS 9? Well, let's see. Let's see. We actually don't need to do this, but I just want to see. I just want you to be able to see something. Enable. Great DNF update. I installed it. These new firewall CMD things. So this is part of what happens. This is one of the reasons why you have to watch out for or keep an eye on if you're planning on using Linux long term in your career. Being up to date with like the tools and things that are being added. Because like I don't know anything about this firewall CMD. I don't know anything about this. Nothing about this. This seems wild, actually. So I don't need HTTPS. I just need HTTP. What is this? Firewall -CMD. Let's man that. Firewall D command client. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So now I bet I'm gonna have to restart Nginx. Wait. That looks, there we go. Okay, so the issue, network problem. Sorry, not a network problem, firewall problem. Even though Nginx was installed. So basically Nginx is a web server, so it allows me to serve content over the web. I just installed it, and now this server is a real web server. It's serving information over the web. It's listening for connections over the web protocol. I just had to open up some firewall stuff to do it. Also, you all saw me very clearly Google exactly what I wanted to do. Install Nginx on CentOS 9 and follow this guide. This is what you really do in the work world. So like, don't think this is how things are. But we're learning about the service. So now if I want to stop it, I can do system CTL stop Nginx if I'd like. And now this shouldn't be running anymore. It's gonna now give me this can't be reached because I've stopped the service. If I look again, it is not running here, which is nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and run a status command so you can see what a status looks like. Status will give you the status of the, it'll give you the status of the command. It's loaded, but it's inactive. So it's not running. So I'm gonna start it. And then I'm gonna run status again. And now you can see it's active and it's running. So status will give you the information about what's going on. It looks like also on CentOS, it will drop you into like less. And I wonder if it also will spit logs out. Seems like it might spit logs out because it drops you into less. But that's cool. Reload, there's a reload as well. You might be wondering what a reload is for. For Linux, because everything is a file. If you want to make changes, like let's say I wanted to modify the way that Nginx worked. And so I went into vim/etc Nginx conf.d. What's in here? Not conf.d, just Nginx conf. Let's say I want to modify where the default location was for this website. So the root is right here. Or if I wanted to modify the port. If I wanted to modify the port or this, for configuration stuff, everything gets loaded in from these files at runtime of the application. So if you want to make changes to how these things work, that's where you would need to reload. So you make a change and there's a restart. So I could do systemctl restart Nginx. And what that would do is that would stop Nginx and then start it back up. So if I check if it's running right now, if I look at the status of it, it should be running. Great. It happens very, very quickly. That works. That is essentially, so you know, that will reload a configuration because the configuration gets loaded in when the application runs. But you can also do a reload, which will not stop the application. It will, it will manage it in a way that the application won't do a full restart, and it can reload in new configuration. All configuration options can't be reset through a reload, but a lot can. So just worth noting, you might want to try reload if you are worried about restarting a service. Reloading might work for you. But system CTL is how we're gonna how you can do this. There are other ways you can do. You can, instead of using system D, you can use system V, sysv init script for this. And so I can instead do service Nginx status, and it will do the same thing. I actually think it now redirects. Oh, sure. Yes, it redirects to this because systems used to use sysv, but now they use systemd, and so they still allow you some of the same things. The commands actually used to be, I mean, I'm old school, and it used to be something like this: init.d/nginx status. It used to be something like this, but you know that it really sucked when it changed from this, because you can type this so fast. I'm not a systemd fan yet, but it's all good. But so yeah, system CTL, stop, start, reload. That's good. That's how you're gonna manage these processes if you want. Besides killing them, that's how you're gonna manage those processes. Let's see. Yeah, enabling it. System CTL enable Nginx. This will set create a symbolic link up, and it will allow this to start at boot. So if I were to reboot this computer, let me see. One, is my server running? Yes, it's running. If I reboot this, once it comes back up, it will still, it'll start Nginx back up, and it will serve what I need. So I think it's going down right now, and we'll give it a bit to come back up. So wait for that to come back up. And while we're waiting for that to come back up, let's go over cron real quick, and we'll knock out the cron stuff the same time when this comes back up. I'm already learning. The heck is system is sysv. That used to be the system for managing processes on your Linux machine. Okay. System V. Unix, system V, system 5. Definitely knew that, but everyone calls it sysv. Everyone calls it this. Sometimes abbreviated, always abbreviated. But yeah, it's just old, and systemd is newer. And it allows for some extra things, but people have resisted change. People have resisted change pretty heavily. I mean, we're using it because we have to, but it is what it is. Yeah. Okay, cron, really quick. Sometimes we just need to run stuff more than once. So you can schedule tasks and commands via the cron service, okay? CRON, cron. All right, so this service allows you to schedule when things run. So there are these files: cron.daily, cron.monthly, cron.weekly. So if you put a command into these files, it will run. If you put in cron.daily, it will run every day. If you run cron.monthly, it'll run every month. Cron.weekly, it'll run every week. But those, you don't have any authority over the time that it runs. Depending on the distribution, it runs at a specific time. You can find out per distribution. You can check it out. You can check out what it is, but it's not always the same. Usually sometime really early in the morning, like 4 in the morning, these things will run. But you can if you just want something to happen and you don't care what time it is, you can throw it in there. Then there's this thing called cron tab. And the cron tab is going to allow you to be able to put a specific expression together to be able to set the schedule. Okay. And so this is what a cron expression looks like. And this is how you do it in Linux. And a lot of things use a cron expression similar to this. But there are 5 different options that you can set, starting with the minute that you want this to run, the hour, the day of the month, the month, and the days of the week. So you can do things like, I would like this to run every hour on the 5 minute, 5 minutes after the hour, every single hour, every single day, always. You can do something like that. Or you can say the second Tuesday of every month, I would like this to run, or the 15th of the month, I would like this to run. And so I put inside of the Google Classroom this Cron Guru, because this will help you figure out how to create these things. And so we can check if our server is back up. I'm going to reload. I reloaded, and look at that. It is back up. So our system, let's log back in. But because we ran this systemctl enable, because we enabled the service, when you enable it, it puts it into a space where it can start on boot. And if I disable it and I reboot now, when it comes back up, this will not reload again. This is cool. Want to join my startup? Maybe. I can only pay you equity. I don't know what I'm doing, and we have very little chance of success. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm in. I might be in. That sounds fun. That does sound fun. If you've never done that before, don't leave your jobs to do that. But you can learn a lot. You can have a lot of fun just kind of hacking on a project. So if you have a project, I can't guarantee I'm going to join your startup. But if you want to hack away at something, if you have if it's a good idea, I might be interested. You never know. You never know. So Cron, the Cron tab guru, the Cron Guru. This is super duper helpful. Okay, it allows you to figure out how to make this. So I'm going to put a bunch of stars here first. All right, so the stars are a wild card character. They're a wild card value that stands for any value. Okay, let's make this a little bit larger. Any value. So this cron expression says every single minute I would like you to run whatever we're running. So the next time it's going to run is at this time. So every single minute, on the minute, it's going to run this thing. Remember, minute, hour, day, month, day, week. So I can say if I wanted to run every minute of every Monday, at every minute on Monday. So this will only run on Mondays, but it'll run every minute. So the next time it'll run will be 6/6. Okay, and let's look at our calendar here. Well, it won't pop up over here. But yes, Monday is 6/6. So it's perfect. And it'll run every Monday. I can also do expressions like range values. So I can say Monday through Wednesday. So now every minute on every day of the week from Monday through Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, our job will run every single minute on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And so maybe, I want it to run every day, but let's say I want it to run every 5 minutes. And you might think, okay, every 5 minutes, I'll just put a 5 right here. This is not what that means. This says this runs at minute 5. That's different. So this will run at 10:05, and then it'll run again at 11:05. Then it'll run again at 12:05, then 1:05, 2:05. So at minute 5, so 5 on the hour, 5 after every single hour of every single day is when this will run. If I would like to specify an interval, the way that you do that is the step values here, and I'll do */5. So every 5 minutes. So right now it's 9:30. So this will run at 9:35, and then 9:40, 9:45, 9:50. So you can start to get really expressive about how and when things run, which is super duper nice. Day of the month, again, I can run it just on, my birthday is on the 21st. So maybe I want it to run only on the 21st of the month. Maybe I want to put something that says, I want a cron that displays that puts a happy birthday text file in my home folder, on the 21st of March. Okay, so March is my birthday. You can also use the numbers here. So I can also do 3, same thing, which is super nice. Takes a while though. What's up, 01007? Yes, Cron Guru is great, super helpful. So yes, this is a way to express a schedule. All right, Cron Guru will help keep that in your arsenal. Let's log in now and see how we do it. Remember, this page shouldn't work even though our server is back up because we disabled the service. So Nginx does not work on boot now because we disabled it. And you see, I rebooted the server. It does not automatically start back up, which is helpful to kind of understand that if you want something to start at boot, you must enable it to do so. So we're back in, and now we can, let's enable it again, sure. But let's mess with the cron tab. So first I want to look at Etsy cron.daily. So let's see if there's anything in here. I can put a file in here I can put something in here that's going to run if I want. Again, same thing for cron.monthly and cron.weekly if I want. But cron tab, this is normally where you're going to put stuff because you can be a little bit more explicit about what's happening here. Vim/Etsy cron tab is one way you can modify it. And luckily they give you a little bit of information here about, the outlook of what you're supposed to do, what each section is and how you want to handle it. You can also modify it by doing cron tab -E, and it'll use whatever editor is available. But yeah, let's go ahead and modify Etsy cron tab. All right. And so let's try to do something like this. Let's do, I'm gonna make a file. So I'm gonna touch, how do I do? So one, if you don't know, there's a command called date if you want to get information about the date, today's date, the current date right now in Linux. So date, you can use date. Let me do something like touch, touch, cron file.txt. Okay, so I have this cron file.txt. All right, and look at this. So cron file.txt will, it'll be empty. It's an empty file. If you don't know, the touch command creates a new empty file. But if the file already exists, what it does is it touches the file, which updates the last modified timestamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to have this file here, and I'm going to make a command that is going to touch this file, and so it's going to update every minute, so we'll be able to see that happening. And maybe, yeah, we'll just do that. Very, very easy. I was gonna do something like you can use the date to do stuff like this. Like, so this is why Linux is cool. Why learning command line skills. Like I could do like touch, date. I don't remember. You can do date formatting. Like this. I can make a new file called date.txt, but this is gonna give me the actual date. And not the time. So 6.3.txt. And so it's 6.3. If you all don't know, it's 6.3 because these servers have UTC time. And so UTC is already Friday for UTC time. But I don't know how to get the time. Let's actually Google it. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe that's better. Linux date format time. Format. No. Week. Timestamp. %T. S. Okay. Timestamp %S. So I can do that instead. So if I make a file, S. Yeah, okay. So this is the Unix timestamp though. But that's okay. That's okay. Let's do that too. Let's do both of them. So I'm gonna rm-rf star.txt, And what I'll do is let's go ahead and vim /st cron tab. And what I'm going to do is every minute, I'm going to have this create a new file. Okay, and it's going to touch a new file with a current timestamp date. Oh, the current timestamp. So let's do every minute. It's going to be, so right here. This is every minute. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and it changes color to help. And I'm going to say root. So this is the username that's going to execute it, and the command that's going to be executed is touch. Hold on. Touch. Delete. Oh, it does not like what I'm doing here. No. Back it up. Touch. What do I want? I want tilde. I want backtick. I want date plus %s. I could format that further, but I'm not going to. .txt. This is the command that I'm going to do. So this is every minute. Every minute of every day is like this. So I'm going to let that run. And we're going to see this get created. You also have to, after you set cron tab, you might have to, I can never remember this. I always get this wrong. Cron tab, reload. Changing cron tab file. No, you don't need to, but I'm still going to reload the service because I've had it work sometimes and not other times. Oh, that didn't work. So this is old school. How old is this? 10 years ago. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is how we used to issue commands. Okay. That's how, that's how it was. Let's see. Systemctl cross. Let's do this. I'm going to restart it. It's probably already making stuff. It's probably already actually running. But what I can do now is let's see if it's working. It might work, it might not. I'm going to let it do, now that I reloaded everything, I'm going to let it do its thing. So should do it on the minute. So we gotta wait a little bit before it gets there to the next minute, and I might have to put in the command a little differently. I always get cron syntax wrong. Cron tab examples, like sometimes you need to put in quotes and stuff. Almost said a bad word. You don't always need to put in the user as well, but I usually do it as good at habit. Yeah, we should be good the way that it was entered, but I might remove it if we're having problems. Cron tab can be tough to, if you don't pipe stuff out into like a log or something, it can be tough to troubleshoot sometimes to see if it's executing or not. So that didn't work. Let's see. I am in here. It did not touch a file. Let's go ahead and modify it again. SD cron tab. I'm going to remove the root user. It might not like, you know what? It might not like the tilde. I'm going to do /root/. Let's do this instead. There we go. And we'll watch again. But Cron's nice. Again, some of the things that you might use this for is one of the worst use cases, but probably a bigger use case than people probably admit. Maybe you have some type of service that is causing lots of issues on the system, and the longer you let it run, the more memory it takes up, and you notice that your server is running, it runs fine, If it runs fine, but maybe after 10 hours or so, maybe after 10 hours or so, it becomes problematic, and you've got to restart a service to get it to release the memory and start over. Yes, you shouldn't do it for that, but people use it for that. Maybe you have a script or a job that needs to run every so often to do some cleanup or or process some files. And maybe you have a server where things are getting uploaded constantly, and then every 5 minutes you run a job that batches them all together and processes them all, at that given interval. So yeah, it's pretty useful. It's pretty nice for different things. All right, let me get it to do something simpler. Cron tab, it doesn't always get me, but like when it gets me is when I'm trying to do stuff like this. Like when all I'm trying to do is something very easy, like very easy. It's cron tab. Not working. How can I troubleshoot? It's always annoying. Usually we want to output to some logs or something. There are some system logs that we can check. Cron tab 8, etc cron tab. There's a system-wide cron tab file, which is this one. The etc cron directory cron tab fragments. I don't care about any of these. Root can always use cron tab command. Regular users may not be able to grant access. Fine. Yeah, here we go. Check the mail. So I can actually go to my command.log. I didn't know this. Oh, no. Okay, never mind. So I said in the beginning, well, a few minutes ago, I said, hey, like usually the way that you troubleshoot this is you pipe the output out to some logs, which is great, but I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna see if anything is in the system logs for now. Oh, no such, okay. Varlog syslog. No such file or directory. So there we go. Check that cron is running. Let's do this. Okay, cron is running. That's helpful. Let's see. Cron runs your command in a restricted environment. Oh, when variables are available. Path redirected. Provide the full path to your command. The command is in a different location. The majority of my cron scripts don't work. Problems are caused by this restricted path, maybe. But I gave it the full path. Oh, but not to the touch command. Beware of sudo. Okay. Let's also pipe this output out into a file. Vim. Let's see. Cron tab. What's up to Common Cold? Been a while. I've been good. I've been great. Life is great. I might need to give the full path to touch. Life's been great. How you been? It's been a long time. Cron tab touch example. Let's see. Super busy. That's a good thing. That's a real good thing. Test the file. Varlog cron is that. Okay, here we go. Failed user unknown. So it looks like it's running every minute, and it's giving us a touch error, failed user unknown. So let's fix that. Let's add the user back. That's helpful. And let's wait again. I'm not gonna restart it. I'm just gonna see if it does this. So I'm gonna tail this. Oh, it looks like it did it. Syntax error, unexpected end of file. when looking for matching. Oh, there we go. We got it. We figured out the problem from a little bit of logs, and this is what Linux will do to you. No, that looks right. It doesn't like the way that I'm formatting. It doesn't like the way I'm formatting this. So it's not a problem with Cron. Cron's working just fine. Let's do this. Let's touch our. What do we call it? We called it Cron. I don't know what we called it. LL. Let's touch. Cron update.txt, and let's event our XE Cron tab, and we'll just have it touch this file. It didn't like the way that we were trying to create our date in the file, and so right now we made this at 147. If this runs properly, once it's 148, we should see the date update. So we got 20 seconds, you know. The comment go, what you been busy with? Well, I always like to hear what people are up to. You know, it doesn't got to be tech related, you know. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully that means life is good. Usually busy means good. Rather be, personally, busy means things are happening. You know, hopefully they're good things, but it means things are happening. All right, so we should see. Look at that. Now it's updated to 148. So it did run. It did touch this. You can obviously make it do cooler things. I can switch it to things like 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day. But again, all you got to do to get something to run on a schedule, if you want something to run on a schedule, cron is how you do it. Cron tab, modifying the cron tab is how you get it to run. You specify the cron expression to set the schedule, and then you give it the user, and then you give it the command that you would like to execute. And so you can do bigger, cooler things by writing a script. We'll learn about script writing, but you write a script, and then you just have the cron run that script every so often, and it's pretty cool. A lot of people use stuff like this for auditing as well, like to give back reports, to generate reports about how a system is doing. So I've seen people kind of roll their own monitoring solutions by like writing a script that will, aggregate all of the system information, memory, CPU usage, stuff like that, and then send it out somewhere, which is cool. I wouldn't do it. There's easier options, but just throwing it out there. But that's Cron. And that's everything. That's everything we have for this evening. It's everything that we have for this evening. Go back through it again. One of the biggest problems with this is like you don't. It's hard to like know what services and things people are going to be touching, what you're going to need to be actually running. It's not going to spin up a bunch of stuff, but I think that would have made it confusing. Exactly. Rewatch it. It's completely okay. Know these things. You want to know these things high level. You don't need to know these things deep down, nitty gritty. Process management, understanding that, hey, everything on Linux is a file directory, and if it's not, it is a process. So something that's running, and so I can manage things are running by starting them and stopping them and reloading them and restarting them. You don't even need to know what you're going to use for that, but systemd is the thing. But just know that you can do all those things to a process, and I can see what processes are running with the ps command or with top or htop. I can stop processes with kill if I would like to. And then knowing that, hey, Linux runs in a couple different modes, and we can change those modes. They're called run levels. It's probably all you need to know from that section. And then cron, simply understanding that you can rerun things on a schedule. You can run a Linux command, you can run Linux jobs on a schedule, and cron is how we handle that. Those are the high level concepts that I want you to pull from today. So in the Google Classroom, I've put the Cron Guru, so you should be able to get that there. And even the slides for today. Nothing else nothing else to really grab, except for I sent you this, but I don't think I put this in the classroom. Let me do that because it's a really good guide. Material. This is process management guide. It'll help you give you some reference for things like top. Reference material for managing processes with PS and top. We'll put this under diving deeper. All right, so you got that as well. But cool. We only have 2 more weeks of the Linux Foundations portion. And so we're gonna get into basic networking next week. So I'm gonna start right on time next week because networking can be super confusing, and we're gonna go kind of slow. But you also kind of learn about how the internet works, and so while this will be networking in the scope of the networking stack that Linux has to offer, this will also be, this is also general networking information as well. So that should be helpful. And then we'll do a bash scripting lab the following week and put, together all of everything that we have gone over so far. Cool. That's it. If you want to do some coding stuff, we're doing on Monday, I shouldn't have closed that. What are we doing on Monday? I feel like we're finally into the good stuff. String theory. So we're going to be dealing with strings next time. Concatenation, interpolation, string methods. We'll talk about runes and bytes. So we're going to be learning how to work with strings in Golang, focusing specifically on that data type on Monday. And on Tuesday, we're going to be doing, I think we're doing S3 on Tuesday, maybe. Yeah, no, we're doing scaling. So this is because we just did EC2 stuff. We're gonna dive into load balancers and understanding, elasticity versus scalability, and how all of these things work, and how you can use AWS to do these things. So we'll be diving into that on Tuesday. Yes, exclamation point YouTube to find new to YouTube videos. I have a couple in the pipeline now. Remember all of the VODs. All of the replays of these things are going on the VODs channel. So exclamation point VODs will give you a link to that. And so it's to separate the kind of content. The types of content that are going to be going on the YouTube channel are the videos that I have in the pipeline right now are a kind of an ultimate 2022 Linux desktop setup, like start to finish. It's becoming a very, very long video, but it's super in depth if you want to get started with Linux on the desktop and getting all of your stuff set up and all of your customization options, all that stuff. It's going to be a guide for that. I'm also making a video right now about again my plan to get 5 AWS certs in 30 days. Again, we'll see if it happens, but pass or fail. I'll be releasing the video, pass or fail. But so stuff like that, stuff like that is going to be on that channel, and all of the VODs will be on the VODs channel. But yeah, I think I can do it. I'm very confident I'll get 4. I don't know if I'll get 5. For some reason, after looking through, so I've taken the systems, the sysops. No, not sysops. I've taken the Solutions Architect Pro before. I didn't really study much for it, but it seemed very difficult. I failed it, but I didn't study for it. I just figured since I was working with AWS, I might be able to pass it. It was super hard. Or at least it felt super hard. I read over the DevOps material. I think I'll be able to pass that, no problem. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not worried about any of the associate level ones. It's just those 2 professional level ones. Real quick, do I know someone by the name of Sam Ojamo? I know a couple of Sams. I think so. The problem is I don't know all the Sam's last names, but I think so. Why? Are you gonna say it's you? But I have a Sam in my mind that I'm thinking about that I believe this is. And actually, let me see if I can pull it up on my LinkedIn really quick. Do you know the code products for the DevOps one? Yeah, I mean, I've worked with pretty much the whole suite of the whole code star suite. I'm hoping. I mean, I'm gonna study. I'm definitely gonna study, but you know, I probably don't know them enough. But I do. I know all. I've worked with all the products before. I know what they do. Yeah. SA Pro is hard, man. So SysOps. There's no SysOps Pro. The SysOps Associate, it's way harder than the Solutions Architect Associate. Like way harder. At least I found it way harder. Like I've held all three. I've already held all three of the associate level certs. But yeah, high school with them. What high school? If you don't mind me asking. Yo, why are y'all still here? Hello. Yeah, we're finishing up right now though. Just some. I just had some old coworkers and friends. Oh yeah, you're out of here, right? Huh? Yeah. You're out of here, right? Yeah. Oh man. Tomorrow's last day. Well, let me wrap up real quick. Can you stick around for like 2 minutes, a minute? All right. Sorry, I gotta go talk to some friends. So good timing. But yeah, come back through tomorrow if you. Oh, not tomorrow. Monday if you want to learn some code. Come back through Tuesday if you want to learn some cloud. Come back through next Thursday if you want to learn some more Linux stuff. I gotta get out of here. Yeah, I actually need to go through my LinkedIn. I have like 200 requests, so I will I'll catch up on them soon, very soon. But appreciate it. Everyone have a good weekend. Wait, we got to see who we're gonna raid. Hold on, can't leave without doing that. Let's see who's online. Let's do this quickly. Juice is online. Let's see if there's anyone who we haven't seen in a while. Let's do Owl to Juice. Yeah, we'll just do Juice. All right, everybody, let's say hello to Juice, and we'll see you later. Let's see if I can spell this correctly. Juice Box Hero. Out of here in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Peace. Wait, I counted too fast. Peace. Okay.